I wanted to come up with a clever intro and have this really good line. And I just realized this podcast is going to be about being honest, being vulnerable, being transparent. So this is going to be me being very transparent, very honest, because I know that what I'm going through at the moment is something that a lot of my customers are going through, because I've had lots of conversations with them, as well as my DMs is kind of exploding of people saying, oh my goodness, I feel exactly the same.
Welcome to the Astrology as a Strategy podcast. I'm your host, Patricia Panassi. I'm on a mission to help you amplify your influence so you can free up time to spend with your family while increasing your revenue. I'm an astrologer, business mentor, an adventure seeker, and a proud mama of 3 kids. Think of this podcast as your shortcut to more joy and ease in your business. Running a business is joyful, and when you're not having fun, you haven't cracked the code yet, but that's about to change. I share practical and short tools how to use astrology in your business and life. So let's get started on using your energy strategically to make a bigger impact, have more free time, and grow your wealth.
And what I'm talking about here is the kind of breakdowns that we are experiencing and the extreme emotional upheaval and just a lot going on. So let me just give you a little peek in how my week has gone. Yesterday, I literally spent the whole day on the couch, and Tuesday is my only day where I have a full day for myself. The kids are with my parents, and that's really the day where I can just knock out tons of work, which I always do. I always schedule that so that on Tuesday I have lots of time. But this time, there were a few things that started to break down on Monday, and there was this kind of avalanche in the evening where everything kind of piled up and everything broke inside of me in a good way. I don't know how long ago it is that I cried so much. It was literally like the dam just broke and there was just no stopping. There was a small incident with my husband. There was something that came up that triggered me extremely badly. Something that I thought I have kind of dealt with, but you know with those triggers, those things will always come back up again in slightly different form. And I know Mercury is in retrograde. We still have Venus in retrograde. We just had Mars moving into Capricorn. So we have Mars there. We have Venus in Capricorn retrograde. We have Mercury now also back in Capricorn in retrograde. And we have Pluto in Capricorn. So there is a lot of this, well, I would say pretty intense energy. And yesterday I had a choice to just do the thing and then break down on Wednesday, because Tuesday is my day where I just fully focus on work. But that was impossible. Like, I literally had to take the day completely off. I just sat on the couch with a blanket, did a lot more crying, drank a lot of tea, watched some trashy TV, laughed a little bit, but mostly I just cried and allowed myself to feel the feelings. And this is, I think, one of the hardest things to do. And to be completely honest, at the end of the day, I felt even more crappy because I thought, wow, this is what I did with my day. And I actually hear my daughter screaming in the background. I felt bad because I felt like I wasted the day. But then after some good conversations with friends, I was like, no, this is really what I just needed, which was even more magnified this morning when I got up and I felt more energetic again. I was like, hey, yes, I want to do something. I want to move. I felt more inspired again. Not like it was a 180 because there's still some sadness and some grief going on. But I felt inspired to move my body. So I did like a 20-minute intense workout. And I literally was like dripping with sweat. And I really needed that. So yesterday there was a lot of tears that flowed out of my body. And today there was a lot of sweat that I needed to release. I needed to... Yeah, there was just a lot of sadness. And there still is a bit of sadness. And I'm okay with that. But I also know that pushing through is not the answer. And I hope that when you're listening to this and you're in the same position where you feel an extreme big amount of sadness, of grief, frustration, that this is the moment that we're in. We're in this very mucky, weird, in-between space. We have 2 planets in retrograde. There are a lot of planets in Capricorn, and Capricorn is the planet of discipline, of structures. So we can also be quite hard on ourselves to think like, hey, we need to do this. And the funny thing is, the first week of Mercury retrograde, I thought like, wow, I'm really cruising through this. Like, it's going really well. And then this week was this major avalanche of emotions, and not just me, because my kids are experiencing it too. Like this morning, my son had a complete meltdown over the fact that his hair was in front of his eyes. And I kid you not, it took him 20 minutes to like calm down again. And I gave him the space to just let it all out, be frustrated, and we talked through it afterwards. But this is the energy that we're in. It's being hard on ourselves and thinking like, wait, hold on. I mean, I've dealt with this, or I don't have time for this, or whatever it is. We tell ourselves so much of what we can or cannot do, and we force ourselves to continue to be productive and efficient and effective. And I'm all for that. But you can only be productive and efficient when you allow yourself to go through these breakdowns. Because, and especially I think in the self-help world, we kind of jump to, okay, but you have to think happy thoughts, and you have to think about the blessings and the good things that you already have in your life. And I totally agree with that it's a beautiful thing to shift your mindset. But we kind of then surpass feeling the feeling. A lot of times in what I hear about the law of attraction, I did a coaching last year with a coach on the law of attraction, and she had this beautiful insight of, if you want to shift your mindset, if you want to get out of that feeling that you don't like, and she doesn't call it a low vibration because there's no such thing as a low vibration. It is the lower tones on a keyboard. Like, you need them too. You need to have all the tones to create this beautiful masterpiece. And the fastest way out of those lower tones is to really listen to the lower tones, to feel the vibration through your body. And yes, it took me actually longer than a whole day, because it started on Monday already, but it took me like almost 2 days of embracing the feeling of really feeling like shit. Like, I was walking to my parents' house yesterday, and like tears were like in my eyes. They weren't running exactly on my cheeks because I didn't want everybody to see me crying on the street. But, there was this really deep sadness in me. And instead of fighting it, I was breathing through it. And it sucked because I felt really, really bad. And there was also nobody who could save me. Like, I had beautiful conversations with my husband, but he couldn't cheer me up. And he really was trying to, which was really sweet of him. But in that moment, I just needed to feel like crap. I just needed to embrace that. And this morning, well, actually last night, I made a promise to myself. And I said, if it's in my highest good to release the grief and the sadness now, please let it dissolve overnight and let me wake up with renewed energy in the morning. And it did. And of course, this doesn't always help. This is like your body and your emotional self. They will tell you whether or not it's time to leave it behind and to take the next step. But because I spent the whole day yesterday on the couch feeling it all and feeling really crap, I was able this morning to move the energy. And a lot of times when we don't allow ourselves to stay in that in between, and we are collectively in this gigantic in between space where we're really reshaping a new paradigm, but we don't know exactly what it looks like. And a lot of things that came up for me yesterday was, God, I don't know where this is going. I don't know exactly what this looks like, but this is just it. This is where I'm at. And this morning, I woke up with a little bit more clarity. I took some steps, did some things, and realized, hey, okay, this is just what I'm going through. I'm going with emotions. So when you're listening to this, know that you're not alone. Know that collectively we are in a very intense type of energy. Know that whatever you're feeling is valid. Whatever you need to do to feel better, do that. And honestly, for most of us at this moment in time, that means rest. That means allowing your nervous system to recalibrate to this new vibration. And we need to take our time for that. We need to spend time by ourselves doing just that. I know it's not the most sexy business advice that you could give, but it is really the most essential. We're so much in overdrive. And remember, here in the Northern Hemisphere, we're still in the winter, which is a time that nature rests. So if your body is telling you, I just need to rest, do that, please. That is really the best thing you can do for yourself. Because remember, we're still in Mercury retrograde. Venus is still in retrograde. And there's a lot of other planetary movements happening that makes it more intense for all of us. So be gentle with yourself. And I promise you, the more that you surrender to this, the faster you find your way out without actually searching for it. And that's one of the things that I mentioned with my clients as well, because I can see where there's a lot of Capricorn energy in their chart, and I can point them at, hey, so this is what has a heavy emphasis right now. Why don't you try to go to the other side of the chart, which is like literally the opposite side of your chart. That's often where you find the release, the relief. And the same for me. I saw that the triggers that were coming up, I could trace them back to things that happened in my childhood, in very specific areas of my life that helped me to realize, hey, gosh, that's that little girl that shows up again. Let me give her a big hug and let me give her what she needs and what she missed in that moment. And I want you to do the same. Look at your chart. Look where you have Capricorn. DM me if you want to know some more information about the different houses, and let me help you getting through this and understanding the deeper layer of these triggers, because you definitely don't do this by yourself. There is always support, but you need to surrender. There is some surrendering that needs to happen before you can actually receive the guidance. One of the things that I really realized again this week is how powerful it is that I can guide my clients in this, that I can tell them what is going on, that they understand the bigger picture of the things that are happening. Now, if you really want to have this one-on-one guidance, where you not just want to know what's happening right now, but you also want to know what's happening for the next 12 months, I would love to support you in that. My 6-month program, my 6-month one-on-one program, we will meet up every single month where we go over what are the energies this month. And between the sessions, you can always contact me on Voxer 5 days a week. Ask me any question if anything comes up. Because the more you get in tune with the cycles and the seasons that you're in, the easier you will be able to surrender to whatever is happening. And this time, it might be a breakdown. It might be surrendering to rest. But maybe in 2 weeks, there's actually an opportunity period for you coming up, and you really harness that energy and take that creative energy and the creative burst that you have, pouring that into new projects. I would love to support you in that. If you want to know more information, you can find the links here on the show notes of this episode, or you can shoot me a DM on Instagram. You can find me at Patricia Panassi, and I would love to hear from you how you're experiencing this time. And if you want some more guidance, I'm here for you, and I'll be happy to hop on a call with you to see if this 6-month program is the right fit for you. So for the rest of this week, take it easy. Trust that your body and your emotions know what to do and when to move into the next phase. I just love yourself. You should always love yourself, but you should love yourself a little bit more this week. Give yourself a big hug. Give your little girl a big hug. And the more that you do that, you will notice the faster you'll move out of this sticky energy. Take good care of yourself.
Thank you so much for listening to the Astrology as a Strategy podcast again. I love to hear your insight from this episode. Screenshot and tag me on Instagram in your stories or on your feed. You will inspire others to have more joy and ease in their business, and I love to see who's listening. One last thing. I love creating free content for you. Would you like to do something in return? Go to iTunes, subscribe, and leave a review. This helps the podcast to be found more easily so this message can reach more people. Thank you so much for listening, and I will catch you next time.